What's going on YouTube? Earth Power here with CVH.
How's it going, everybody?
And we have the final match for you today in the Season 2 2023 bracket tournament, trying to find another best deck in the finish meta. So we made it through 7 matches so far. Um, Everybody's hopefully favorites making it through to top 8. Some heavy losses, but we have what I think is going to be one of the more interesting and untested, and
hmm
if not, just probably one of the best matches I think we played on the day in top 16 of Light Water Dark Hydro Hurricane versus Water Dark Fire Nature Rebirth Midrange. CVH, these are your brainchild babies that you
I
put
mean, sort
together and
of.
kind of added and worked on a little bit for the 40 card meta. Tell the people what you think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna start the match because I think it's gonna be kind of a long one.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
yeah, but these are two really cool decks. Hydro Hurricane is one of the most popular strategies in the overseas meta in the IDC tournaments. Usually the lists are 45, so as I explained in the profile that I did with Spencer Swan, it was a struggle to get it down to 40, but we made it, and we kept to the core and the strategy of the deck and all the important cards, I think, at the numbers they needed to be. Rebirth Midrange is a more traditionally 40 card deck. 4 color midrange deck that really capitalizes on Miraculous Rebirth, has a lot of interesting 1 and 2 ofs. This is also only slightly tooled from some decks we saw in the IDC meta and a couple other decks that were posted online. But the thing that really stands out about that deck is its flexibility. It doesn't have a single consistent curve, but it does have really solid plays at every single mana drop and answers to pretty much anything you could throw at it because of the incredible flexibility. Like you see Giga Rise in Carl's hand right now. Like these are just really
Yeah.
fun, cool cards that I think we're both really excited to sleeve up for the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the core of Rebirth mid-range too still plays some of the really solid mid-range cards like Hulkus. And then, Rebirth just, like CBH says, capitalizes on the fact that there's so many single cards. Go back to the profile that CBH and I did on this deck. It's definitely just one of the coolest decks I think we added to this tournament. And pitting it up against what like you said, probably one of the more popular control archetypes that exist in the IDC meta. Hydro Hurricane is just it's strong. It is a very strong card and a hard card to come back from
Yeah, and I would also
when it
like to
comes to.
mention that I think these two decks are both somewhat complex. Hydro Hurricane, just because its strategy is very sort of intricate and like you need to time everything right and play your blockers at the right time and Mysterios and everything. But the Rebirth deck also because it has so many different lines available to it that it's not always cut and dry. And these were our first times, I think, playing both of these decks. So we are learning
Yeah,
as we go. If you see us thinking a lot about our turns, it's because decks are not super easy a lot of the time.
absolutely. Um, it looks like your game plan, like with most of these control decks that play darkness, is just to ramp and get yourself to Lost Soul, which is a very difficult card for my deck to deal with,
Yeah.
just in general. So
The only ramp in Hurricane is Eureka Charger, but I do have it. That is one of the main things to ramp to. The other thing you want a lot of mana for is just Mysterios on the board and playing 2 to 3 blockers in a single turn, so you can really
oh,
go wide.
and let me call this out really quick, because I know you guys are going to say it that I didn't tap the correct mana there. The darkness. So playing Bronze Arm Tribe meant that leaving the darkness mana untapped, or the water mana untapped, whichever one was correct there, was the right play, as I should have been banking on Melnia, which was the card in hand that I could play. I did not have Ganta, so I should have been playing to the Melnia, which was just not obvious because I left the fire water or the fire nature card untapped. So
Okay, yeah, I'm assuming you made that. Yeah, you told me that in person, and I was okay with it, obviously, because
yeah,
we're not trying to mana screw ourselves when there's a clear line. If you had had Melnia and Ganta in your hand, I would have been like, hmm.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
But nope, we're all good. So Petrova's hard to answer, but hey, you have a really imposing board here, and Melnia is a problem for Petrova for sure. If I crack back on Hulkus or something, it sacrifices my Petrova, essentially. But
Yeah,
now you're debating, is it
and
time
that's
to go in?
yeah, and that's the game plan here. So Surfer comes down the turn after Petrova, gets rid of the one drop, which is great. My whole goal was just to keep you off of wanting to Lost Soul. I know my hand is strong right now, so I want to hold on to I think it's a Jagalzor and something else in hand. So if I can
Oof.
take you off of 3 shields and let the best thing Petrova do, crack back, then that's the goal.
Yeah, this is a really bad spot for Hydro Hurricane here. The board is nowhere near wide enough to have an effective Hydro Hurricane. Hydro Hurricane cannot usually get you back from being this far behind, so I need to think of other things to do. No mass removal in Hydro Hurricane besides Holy Awe, so again, like things that require a wide board, and I just don't have one.
Well,
Um,
Hydro Hurricane's only bouncing creatures with darkness cards too. So
exactly. Yeah.
it's the light cards. Even if you could play the Giga there,
Oh
you're
yeah,
bouncing 2 mana. That's not what you want to be doing here.
No, I mean, like, I would like to have at least 3 or 4 light cards and probably 2 darkness, and make sure I have blockers set up for this to be a good Hydro Hurricane, and I'm like 5 creatures, 2 light for that right now.
Wouldn't we all?
Yeah. If I just had
That's
5 more creatures on board, I'd be in a good spot, said everyone all the time.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So, I mean, this deck, some people have teched one Miraculous Plague in Hydro Hurricane. That's not in this version. So, I'm curious to see what my options really amount to besides just playing like 2 or 3 blockers and hoping that they get me there. A lot of them are Guardians. So, I mean, hey, Lyra Giga's big now. Could be good. Let's see. It's a 6. It can't be Hydro Hurricane. That would be
Yeah,
ridiculous.
absolutely not. It's 5
Oh, 5. Okay.
for Mysterios, Giga, and then you have the
Okay.
other Giga. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm
Which
barely alive, and I do decide that using Petrova to kill something is worth. Because if I attack over Hulkus and then you Melnia trade, Petrova essentially killed 2 things that could have taken potentially shields. And I'm okay with that, even though it will lower the power of the rest of my board. Because right now I'm definitely playing the defensive role. I need to do everything I can to not die. And then we can worry about Hydro Hurricane later.
Well, so here's my conundrum. I think I should be playing Jagalzor here, but like the conundrum is if I try to go,
Ooh.
I start with Cryptic, because if I go for Melnia to break a shield, that goes through. Jagalzor gets to swing through, sure, but you're going to block with a Giga, and then the other Giga takes out a Surfer, and now I'm dealing with a Mysterios that can crack back on Jagalzor. So
Yeah.
yeah, I could get you down to no shields, but I have no board after the play. So
I think I like
Cryptic here
this.
is Cryptic here is my safe play. Melnia takes you off of Petrova. Sure, you get to draw a card, but I'm presenting another threat that you have to deal with.
Another thing too
And
is
if I
again, like you don't see
Yep.
darkness on my board, so Hydro Hurricane can't bounce Cryptic, and this deck only has, I believe, 2 pits, 2 snares, all of which you see, all except for 1 pit is not accounted for, but not a lot of answers to Totem right now.
and Surfer can just come in on the shield and hopefully hopefully get me there over the course of the next 2 turns. I'm banking on you not being able to deal with at least 2 of these creatures, so I can Jagalzor the next turn and hopefully continue with the pressure.
Yep. So yeah, there we go. All I needed was 1 darkness card for this Hydro Hurricane to be reasonable. Showing the
Yeah.
power of also Mysterios, allowing me to play it cheap, cycle a card. I'm not running out of cards in the slightest. I mean, you've been giving me shields too, but I do get to bounce 3 mana, which is really the power point of this
Yeah,
play.
incredibly strong here, taking me off of Cryptic and now being able to just bounce with the Surfer. Yeah,
Yep.
super, super strong.
Yeah,
Which
so
again, a
now
heads up play for you. You take the shield, and sure, you're down 1 additional shield, but having the extra creature there keeps me off of being able to go to 6 mana next turn
yeah, I mean I figured I'd be at least on yeah,
or
I would
5 mana
definitely be
rather. Yeah.
I would definitely be hurricaning, and from this point on I believe in my ability to spam blockers because Mysterios should just be there. You're pretty far away from Rebirth, which is the big thing that hurts Mysterios in this deck.
Yeah, I wasn't able to rebirth in the 2 turns that I had the option to, and unfortunately, too far, too late now.
Yeah, you're back with the bronze arm. You're potentially at a 6 next turn, so I have to be concerned about
Yeah.
that.
But you also have a million cards in hand, which means Lost Souls probably coming. Which after
Oh,
the Spiral Gate for the BM, it's very strong, very very strong.
yeah, Spiral Gate Soul. Yeah, the plan is coming together. I'm seeing what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
and draw, play mana, pass.
Yeah, just a
No
locomotiver.
no darkness. Yeah, don't have any darkness, man.
The downsides of a 4-color deck sometimes. A second Mysterios, and now the engine is just online. We're drawing cards. We're fouling
Oh my
back
god,
Hydro Hurricane.
CVH is moving fast. That's how you know he's in a very good position.
We're also on 1.5 times speed. But
Also
yeah.
on 1.5 times speed. Surfer feels real dumb here. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bouncing Mr. House just doesn't even seem great. Bouncing anything in general doesn't seem good. And I think I'm
So
considering just
yeah,
not bouncing anything, but oh yeah, I do. So yeah, I bounce it so I can get through with
fair.
bronze. Yeah,
Yeah. Because
that
taking
makes
me off of my one darkness card makes the Hydro Hurricane significantly worse, or at least more dangerous sometimes.
sure when you can't play it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, the next Hydro is probably gonna sting,
The next
if I had
Hydra
to
is
guess.
gonna yeah. There's a good chance I end up with 0 mana at some point this game.
Yeah. Hydro Hurricane tied with Cataclysmic Eruption for
Ah,
highest ceiling.
forgot this deck was playing Paloelosis. Wow.
Oh yeah, 4 of them, dude. It's a
Yeah.
core card for sure. Don't play less
Oh
than 4
yeah,
Palas or miss.
I remember this play because you were on 11 man and you were upset about it.
Mm. You know you're in a good spot when you're in 11 mana and you're upset about it. Not always, actually, but
But when you have
yeah,
those 5 dudes that you were mentioning before, yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So I do decide to wait for the Hydro until
You
next
can bounce
turn.
all of them again. Yeah.
Yeah. If I could have bounced 6 mana this turn, I totally would have done it, and I would have started breaking shields with the Mists and Fouls probably, and make sure Surfer doesn't kill me. You get a Rebirth on the Foul. You're like, I already have 2 Mystrios. Maybe I'll deck myself out. This is actually super strong for you because Gallic is in your deck, and unless
Yeah.
it's in shields,
Gallic's a good card. I just saw it at the top. I think it's the first card I searched up too. Uh, Gallic would again, Gallic's fine here, but again, I'm so far behind. So it's tough to say what's actually good and not good right now.
God, my hand is huge, and you're gonna get to discard one randomly. I have 7 cards in hand.
Love it. Love to see it. There's 8. No, there's 7. All right,
Yeah,
I
it's a
can't count.
shield.
We rolled an
And
8-sided dice too.
somehow,
Show.
Carl, somehow you snipe my one Hydro Hurricane.
Love it.
I remember that being
Love it.
pretty upsetting in the moment because I had to wait that one additional turn for
Yeah,
Hydro.
yeah. Super upset. Let's see if I can manage to steal this game. Yeah.
That would be a good way to start the steal for sure. I put Holy Awe down, so I've got to have something going.
I think no. Did you? I think you just put down your
Did I
Reaper
not?
Charger.
Okay, I don't know. Probably that. Awe seems good here. Locomotiver on nothing.
Yeah.
Drawing a card just to get Darkness on board. I'm trying to find I don't know, another Mirror Ooze. I think there's one left. I've only played one, yeah. So if I could find that last ooze, there's 2 of them. That would be nice to bounce both of the things. I think I would just go
Yeah.
for that. Because at the end of this, I'm probably clearing 4 mana and making these unplayable.
That has to be the play. That or you're searching for the Hydra again.
Yeah. So I low code and I have 7 mana to play with. Part of me is like, I could just wait another turn.
It's tough to commentate because you literally have like everything could be an option at this point.
Yeah. I draw
You
1.
have a million cards in hand and just so much mana.
Yeah. So unless you top deck the 3rd Rebirth, or like maybe Jagalzor, I'm kind of safe this turn, and I can just Hydro next turn. That's what I go for. Again, you take me off of my Darkness creature, but I think this turn is when I stop drawing cards with Mystrios and I start playing Hydro Hurricane. And now I have 3 creatures that break shields. So, nice. I'm still drawn. Whatever. I might have a lot in my deck. Oh, Holy Awe. Holy Awe's not bad. Yeah.
Yeah, Holy All deals with the board. Petrova did call Guardian. We didn't
Yeah.
that earlier.
We need to get like little things to put at the bottom of the table when we're playing Petrova just show different races. I'm gonna see if we can get those. Bucky can draw some nice ones. And I decide to start hitting a shield, maybe? I'm thinking about how painful an Aqua Surfer shield trigger would be.
Well, you're also considering whether or not to kill with a blocker instead and take me
Yeah.
off of a shield to put me to a potential 2-turn.
Yeah.
You have more than enough turns to deal with anything I do next turn.
Yeah. I think this is likely in your, like, how many cards left? I think it's 4 or 5.
Yeah.
I counted to make sure. 4 is actually a lot of time.
Not a lot, but I am, if that last shield is the Hydro and your last card is Hydro, I'm in a good spot.
Pela, no draw. Hydro Hurricane bounces 6 mana. You get 1 mana left.
Hooray.
So you get to keep Hawkeye Lunatron down.
The answer is everything.
Yep.
I'm losing everything. Hey,
Oh boy, we're rolling more dice.
I try to roll the four-sided. Still can't do it.
Still can't do it.
Hit the terror pit. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Isn't
probably
that
not
neat?
gonna need to pit your 2-drop next turn.
Isn't that neat?
Nice mana, buddy.
Yeah. If I can find a surfer. Yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
not
So
not
there's
awful. But the problem here is that you have 2 mana next turn.
and one spiral gate, right?
That's still not lethal. I have 2 blockers.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Break the last shield. The
That's a
terror pit or
little
something.
that's a little risky. That one shouldn't be broken.
Slightly risky. Yeah, he doesn't break it, guys.
Yeah.
I just have hey, I have more cards in my hand than you do. Look
You
at
do? Congrats. No, never mind.
that.
Oh,
And I
that's
will say, it's as bad as that looked for me, there were still some outs at least throughout that mid
mhm.
game there, and I mean, we definitely didn't say it, but Rebirth bricked on like at least 3 out of 4, like 3 or 4 turns there, which was
What do you
tough.
mean? The mana?
Just the mana, like seeing the volcano charger, just the cards off the top or around the middle of that game there
Oh,
was
you mean like not the
yeah.
card rebirth brick, but the deck bricked a little bit, yeah. No, you're
Yeah,
right.
for
Yeah.
sure, for sure, for sure. And
That is
Hydra at that point was able to just take off with Mystery Ops without me being able to deal with it.
I mean, we commented on Rebirth midrange's flexibility at the beginning of that game, but flexibility and more civilizations, they're a double-edged sword, right? The more things your deck can do, the less likely it is that it does that one specific thing that you need it to do sometimes,
Yeah,
especially when you're top decking, right? That's when that kind of can come into play. But
yeah.
neither, you're right though,
Consistency
that was a
versus
grind.
flexibility. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, again, shout outs to Hydra. Like, it played to its game plan perfectly. Like
Yeah.
that was that was a perfect showcase of how lethal and feel batty this deck can make the opponent feel.
Yeah,
So
I remember Spencer watching that game, and he had never he had not been a believer really because he like us thought Hydra was pretty mid before this, but then he saw that game and he's like, oh, that's a Spencer's a guy who
yeah,
likes bouncing mana.
yeah, for sure. And I mean, this Rios in general is just I think an MVP that again we've mentioned it a few times on the channel, but just never got a ton of love on this channel prior to
Hmm.
this year. So really
Yeah,
really glad to be showcasing just how strong that card really is.
but that game was still a grind. Like you applied a lot of pressure, and Hydra really had to grind it out there down to its last sort of like 4 or 5 cards in its deck.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
absolutely.
Double snare and mana. Interesting. Really, really interesting. Considering there's only 2 of
You
them.
you did it last game also.
Immediately?
I
I
think
don't know,
so.
man.
I think it was in
That's a
the
little
first like
strange.
3 or 4 mana. It was your only light mana through turn 6, and I know you had 2 of them.
I mean, getting cards like Pela on board and Mystrios on board is more important, but it's interesting that I wouldn't keep at least one of them.
Yeah. See Hulkus, unfortunately, just off the turn.
That said, I guess your deck isn't really very threat dense. It's got like 1 Bazagazil, which I can't snare, 1 Jigalzor, 1 Cryptic, 1 Hawkeye Lunatron. So we're like a ways away, and I do have pits somewhere. So I'm thinking maybe Hydra Hurricane just does the heavy lifting. Is probably what I'm
Yeah,
thinking when I'm putting those down.
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, granted, I was able to apply some sort of like mid-rangey pressure last match, but
Oh,
I mean,
dude,
tech plays. Oh yeah, shout outs to there's throwbacks from season 1. The
it's
locomotive are
painful.
sniping the mystery out. Yeah.
That's super painful for me. Yeah, Eureka Charger was a fine play last turn, but I was really hoping to get that Mystrios online, even though, I mean, if I did it, you can still rebirth it technically, but I've got to try, right?
This is a
Oh,
fun
dude.
play.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is I'll let you get into the thought process.
Okay. Because
I'll
I
run
think,
through
yeah,
this
I play it and then I think about it for about another few minutes. I'm talking to Spencer because I'm not trying to telegraph my hand to Carl in real time, but Spencer and I are going back and forth. My hand currently is 2 Hydro Hurricanes and a Lost Soul. I don't have Darkness mana. I'm
Oh, and
terror.
you played Holy All in mana this
Yeah,
turn.
yeah,
So it
yeah.
was
Holy
Holy
Oz
All
mana's
Lost
already
Soul
played.
2 Hydra. Yeah.
Yeah, so right
Yeah.
now I have 2 Hydras and Lost Soul. My deck is not doing its thing. I don't have Mystrios. It was stolen from me unjustly, I might add. So I'm really just trying to like get this game from the jaws of defeat to potential victory as Spencer knocks the tripod a little bit. Look at my hand. So really my
Yeah.
line that I'm taking here is the super low percent chance that I Hydro Hurricane bounce exactly 1 mana, so Carl can't play either Rebirth or Jagalzor, which in my opinion would apply too much pressure for me to ever win consistently. And then I just hope to draw Darkness mana and Lost Soul. And from there I just hope to draw creatures. So that's what I eventually come to, is I have to
Yeah.
make this really gross play just so you can't play a
In
6-drop.
in hopes that you get to make
Yeah.
just the strongest play available. I
For
mean,
what it's
this is
worth,
really
if I had Darkness mana already, this would have been strictly correct all the time. But I had the top deck Locomotiver.
yeah. God, 3 Rebirths, Cryptic, and APOC just gone. Wild. I'm so upset. I am so upset now because I know I've lost. Like at this point, like now I'm
Oh,
so
and then I
far
top deck
behind.
Mystrios again.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, super
brutal.
upsetting. So so I hit the Hydro out of your hand. Get to draw a card with Mist. I've got there. Why wouldn't I attack there? I think I don't
Wait,
know.
right
That's
there?
weird.
That's
Yeah,
a little
I probably should have.
with the Hulk Eye at least.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe not
Interesting.
Loco, but maybe with Loco too. Um, yeah.
Are we still on my
I'll say
turn,
it.
or have you drawn yet?
Not sure. We're looking at deck lists. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've drawn. Well, I think the top deck Mystrios was more unlucky for you than the top deck Darkness Mana, which I was bound to see. But like, yeah, Mystrios right after that is what I really needed to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, again, it's just realizing now that the game's starting to fall out of reach. You know, it's. God, I'm just. Why wouldn't I attack there? Why wouldn't I attack
Um,
there? Because now attacking is just strictly wrong. But
I
like,
did have Petrova
if that was your play the following turn, you would have been able to
attack over
Loco and
something.
Mist crack back. Yeah, I would have only had 2 attackers. So, I mean, I guess maybe it wasn't right, but in the grand scheme of things, now the game is just again just completely out of reach. So,
Well, the
like,
turn you might have attacked was before I played the Loco, right? So I could have cracked back on one thing, I think. We can go back and look at it afterwards, but you're right.
mm,
Now the game is out of reach.
yeah, for sure. And I bricked on the play the turn prior, and I'm still just losing it over your double hydro on the banking on the darkness mana. Like,
Yeah.
what a heads up play. Like just you rolled the dice on the topping the mana. I mean, because that was game breaking for you, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you don't see darkness, you probably lose. If you do, you win. Like, it was that cut and dry.
Yep. Although
Wild.
hilariously enough, if I hadn't drawn Darkness, I probably would have had to use the other Hydro Hurricane to bounce one thing again. Just to hope I do it the following turn. But yeah, as it stands, I didn't have to use both of them for that
Yeah,
insanity. But I think you
crazy.
did discard my Hydro number 2 earlier, so I have to try to win this game, quote unquote, the right way by breaking shields while you continue to have mana. But at this point, I have
Yeah,
2 blockers, so I'm fairly safe from everything, including Jagalzor.
really safe. Plus Petrova. Like, the deck does not have a. I think it plays Thrash Crawler, and I think that might be its only blocker.
Yours?
Yeah,
Double checking.
yeah. Water Dark. I think Thrash Crawler is the only blocker.
Yeah, 1 Thresh. You do get to break a lot of shields. I'm not blocking just to
Oh
see what
yeah,
they are. And there it goes.
yeah.
So you can't
Man.
apply enough pressure that turn to attack for game. And I have blockers untapped, and Hydro Hurricane takes it 2-0.
I feel just as defeated as I did when you lost sold me that game. Just
I'm sorry.
commentating it and reliving it. If not only because, and so stick with me, guys. These 2 decks are awesome. Hydro Hurricane, love it, love the deck, love that we're finally featuring it on the channel, and it's getting its due. That performed wonderfully. But like Rebirth is a cool deck, and I really wanted to do cool Rebirth things. And you keeping me off of it by being on the play, like in game 2, there was uh, just it
Yeah.
was painful. It was really, really painful.
Yeah. I
So
mean, I'm glad we saw some of the cool cards in the deck, and the rebirth happened. But yeah, if if there's a deck that you want to showcase the different cards in, don't put it up against the deck that gets rid of mana.
yeah,
You can't
yeah,
play the cool cards.
yeah,
But
absolutely not.
Hey, on the bright side, Carl, we have our top 8.
We do. We do have top 8. So as it stands, in the coming week, and before I say that, we are going to put a feature match up with Water, Fire, Nature, Tempo versus this Force of Rebirth mid range. We kind of wanted to give mid range another shot at just looking cool. So that match will be up here start of next week. So stay tuned for that. Otherwise, our top 8 is set. So as it stands, in the first, in the top of the bracket, we've got Water, Fire, Rush versus Light Dark Nature Phantomac, or Light Dark Fire Phantomac, excuse me. Um, yeah, that should be a good match. You think
Mhm.
Phantomac's favored there?
Yeah, we haven't played him yet. All right, so I wouldn't say. I think it's close. I don't think one
Yeah,
of the decks gets completely dominated. I think Phantom Mech has the possibility to steal things with shield triggers.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. But yeah, Water, Fire, Rush. You guys saw it in the play-in weeks ago. At this point, coming back, I mean, it's a strong list, and we're really high on it right now. So that should be a good one. And then in the bottom part of the first bracket, the top half of the bracket, Water, Fire, Nature, Tempo versus Light, Water, Fire, Rush. Again, I think that's a tough one for Tempo.
Mm,
Tempo typically doesn't want to see these rush decks coming for it. I think a lot of things got to break right for Tempo to do well here, and it'll be interesting to see who actually makes it out of here.
mhm.
But I don't think Earth Stomp's going to do half as much damage as it did versus the deck out deck.
Yeah, and then the bottom half we have the double mana burn matchup, mana burn versus turbo burn, followed
Get
by
ready,
the
get ready for a long one, guys.
and then Fire Nature Rush versus Hydro Hurricane. So the bottom half of the bracket, besides Rush, significantly slower than the top half.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I do. Yeah, I do want to mention too with the Fire Nature versus Hydro Hurricane. Hydro Hurricane is typically played in these overseas metas to deal with the rush decks. It's the deck that has a lot of the things going for it with early blockers that Fire Nature Rush typically doesn't want to see. So it's
Hmm.
very much the most anti rush deck in this bracket. And feeding Fire Nature Rush to it should make for an interesting match that I'm looking forward to see who actually makes it out of there.
Same. Yeah, it's not tech super hard for the Rush matchup in this version, but it'll definitely be a cool
It's
one to
got the one
play.
drop blockers, man. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. So
There's your top 8.
leave a
Hopefully
like,
you
guys.
enjoy.
Yeah, leave a like, guys. Let us know what you think of the top 8 so far. Or not the top 8 so far, the top 16 as you guys have seen it. Stay tuned for top 8 coming at you next week. And we will catch you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.